Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Monday Night with Dor. We are going to be previewing tonight round 17, the weekend that was. And geez, there was some absolutely special performances over the weekend in clubland as well as in fantasy, and obviously some not so good ones. So, look, without further ado, let's start with how the all-out team went. Look, scored 941 points in round 17. So, look, can't be too upset with that, but there were a couple of poor performances. Look, Payne Haas didn't have his best game, but look, 49 points, that's okay. Keon Kalamatangi did not have a very good game at all either. He only got 36 points. What else do we have here? Jackson Purdue, only 15 points. Look, if Purdue's probably definitely a sell. If you've got enough numbers for this week, definitely get rid of him. But for us, we'll probably hold him. We've only got, I think, 4 trades left, so we'll probably hold Purdue and hope he can go well. But look, great performances from Aaron Clark, Jerome Hughes as well. Jerome Hughes was special. Look, we went the loop there, and we ended up taking Latu Fainu's score of 35, but King Togia went well with 43. And the other definite trade, unfortunately, Couchman, 19 points. Really, really unfortunate there. And he's now injured, so he's probably going to be out for a little while and is definitely a sell. I think if you haven't got Preston, I'd be moving Couchman to Preston, but we will touch on that shortly. But we did make a few ranks. So 9,806 before we were just inside 8 spots inside the top 10,000. So he made like a few over 100 ranks this week. So in the right direction. So that's really good to see. Now, our team for this week, so you can see thus far how our team's shaping up. Just looking like we're definitely going to have to get rid of Couchman this week. There is the chance with Payne Haas also away on Origin duties. We are 2 spots short. We do have 2 halves on the bench, but we do have Jamal Fogarty and Hughes, and we're definitely going to play those 2 guys. So, look, there's a real chance we'll probably just get rid of Couchman. Look, options for Couchman that you could probably get in that are playing this week. I think Tallis Duncan, I know it's a bit late, but he's been scoring really well recently. 96 points on the weekend, break even of 3. He's been scoring well. I think he made 80K last week, so it might be a bit late. But look, he's scoring well. Pardon me, playing big minutes, so that's not the end of the world. And then probably another one is Big Billy Kickow, 61 points from Kickow, break even of 36. He's been scoring really well and offloading the ball a hell of a lot. So the Dogs have played all their bye rounds. He's a really good option. Eli Katoa, 695K as well. He was terrific for the Storm against the Sharks on the weekend. 66 points, break even of 49. I think he is also a really good option for a second rower to get into your side. Really got to focus in on those sides that have played all their bye rounds or had all their bye rounds. So the likes of the Dogs, the Roosters, who else? The Storm. So players from those sort of teams definitely a good get-ins for this week. Before we go into the rest of, we summarize sort of round 17, all the results and the games themselves. Let's touch on a few things first. So if you play SuperCoach, look, the all-out team in SuperCoach is going really well. Shout out to Mick, Ollie, and Macca. They've been helping me out here, and we've been doing a really good job in the top, just outside the top 5,000. And look, there's a fair few players in SuperCoach, 173,238. So to be just outside the top 5,000 in that is really good as well. Look, yeah, for us in SuperCoach, look, didn't go too badly at all. We'll have a quick look at the team. Thank you for that, Code. As you can see here, had the AE there in the hooker position. So you can see here, 1,338 points last week. Look, we had Hoskins, unbelievable, 106 from him. Tarpany went well. Karapani came in. VC of Lomax went well. Katog did good. Pappenhausen, not the best. Talakai, not the best either. But you can't really be too critical. A lot of 40s there. And then the great captaincy of Scotty Drinkwater. So that really helped us out there. But look, a really, really special round from the all-out team. So, yeah, we're going really well in fantasy, a bit in SuperCoach, sorry, a bit better than we are in fantasy. Now, in terms of the judiciary, so players that are going to be missing this weekend, it's very likely that Kelma Tuolangi and Heath Mason, or I'd say almost certain that these guys are going to be missing this weekend. Heath Mason probably will have a 1 week ban. And I think Kelma Tuolangi with that crusher tackle on Jack DeBellin there. Mason's was obviously contact with the referee, pushing the referee. And Kelma Tuolangi's was that crusher tackle on Jack DeBellin. So I'd say Kelma's going to be out 3 weeks, even though he only just got back the other week from a 5-week suspension. So his discipline's really not been good, but he's been playing very, very well, Kelma. So it is a bit of a blow if you got him in or wanted to get him in. But yeah, I'd say he'll be out 3 weeks, Mason out for 1, and then just a heap of fines for Kelly, double fine for Nicara. Jackie Williams has been fined, Crosland fined, and Kickout fined. So that is that. Now, in regards to this weekend, so round 18 that's coming up, the players that you want to be getting in your side. So the Bulldogs are versing the Broncos. Obviously, a lot of teams are on the bye this week, so that's definitely something that you need to take into play. But the Doggies and the Broncos playing their first major bye round. Canberra Raiders are versing the Dragons. The Cowboys taking on the Storm. And the Roosters versus the West Tigers this week's fixtures. Plus, Manly Seagulls versing the Rabbitohs. So Dolphins, Eels, Knights, Panthers, Sharks, Titans, and Warriors are all on the bye. So you want to be getting your players in from these teams here. I'll try and zoom out here so we can get it all on the one screen for you guys. There we go. That should be, if it doesn't glitch out, there we go. That should be perfect there. So you can see Bulldogs, Broncos, Raiders, Dragons, Cowboys, Storm, Roosters, Tigers, and Manly and the Rabbitohs. They're the players that you want to be bringing into your side this week. And like I said, sort of focusing on that, the Doggies and the Storm players that have had all their major bye rounds, and the Roosters, they've played all their major bye rounds. So they're the players that you want to be trying to get into your side this week. All right, let's go into the round that was. So round 17. Quickly, it started off on Thursday night, 8-6 to the Panthers in what some are calling, some are saying was the game of the season. It was certainly an absolute cracker. Manly took down the Tigers in the first game on Friday night, 28 points to 10. The Raiders held off the very spirited Newcastle side, winning 22 points to 18. The Broncos took down the Warriors on Saturday, the first game on Saturday, 26 points to 12. A great game out at Win Jubilee. The Dragons took down the Eels, 34 points to 20. Then the back at Suncorp began for the Dolphins, who absolutely took the Rabbitohs to the cleaners there. The Rabbitohs were able to get 28 points, but the Dolphins scored their 50 points for the third time in the last 4 weeks. So they're absolutely cooking the Dolphins. The Storm, look, they really put it together in that second half. Their first half was very sloppy. I think it was like 10-6 at halftime. Then they scored 20 points unanswered to win 30 points to 6. Cronola's unfortunate slip down the ladder continues. And then we ended up down the Goldie on the last game on Sunday, 30 points to 24. The Cowboys just held off the fast finishing Titans to get a victory down on a wet and miserable Gold Coast. Luckily, the conditions fined up a little bit in the second half and a bit of footy was able to be played. But look, without further ado, let's get into the fantasy points. So Nathan Cleary, absolutely exceptional, 79 points from him. Look, if you haven't got Cleary in or you didn't hold him, you've definitely got to get him in for the run home. Panthers have an absolute terrific run home. So, yeah, Cleary, get him in if you don't already. Dylan Edwards, look, absolutely phenomenal performance from Dylan Edwards. With Cleary having that groin issue, Edwards had the goal kicking and was able to get a few extra points there. But just outstanding from Dylan Edwards. And I think he is a real cut price keeper for your fantasy teams after this week for the run home. So definitely one to watch. I don't know if Panthers players could be rested come next week in round 19, but look, yeah, he is definitely a really good option to get into your sides. Isaiah Yeo, myself personally, I've kept Isaiah Yeo through this whole period, and he was exceptional as well. 66 points for him. Connor Tracy, not going to say go out and get him. Look, if you get Tracy, you can definitely, as I said, get him in, but it's just a bit inconsistent from Tracy week to week. So take that into consideration. Max King, great performance from him. Look, a bit of uncertainty in regards to his origin position, Max King, but he came out with a great performance and definitely told Laurie Daly he wants to be there for this decider, and he ultimately has been selected for the decider. Jacob Preston and Kickout, touched on them before. Terrific from those two players, 61 each for both of them. As you can see here, Kickout, look, 3 offloads there. He's really throwing a few offloads. Technically 4 if you count the one to ground as well. So Kickout and Preston proving to be great options there. Kiraz didn't have his best game. Fair few errors from Kiraz and missed tackles, but look, you'll take 47 any day of the week from your center wings and wing fullbacks, or centers and wing fullbacks, should I say. Matt Burton, look, solid performance from him, and ultimately, unlike Kiraz is 18th man, so everyone that's got him in, including us, is very, very upset by that, but it is what it is, and you have to move on. But look, yeah, Matty Burton, 581 K, not a bad option playing this week. Average break even, but yeah, not a bad option to get into your sides. Toho could be one to get into your team for the run home, but he is, he was in a bit of doubt and still is in a bit of doubt for state of origin, so take that into play. Outside of that, Josh Curran, look, basically scored at a point a minute. I'd hold on to him if you still got him. In regards to that game, that could be it. Outside of Tom Jenkins, look, Mr. Jenkins, it could be close to the end. But like I said before, you could probably hold on to Jenko because the Panthers have a terrific run home. So, look, if you've got Jenko, definitely can hold on to him. On to the next game, 28 points to 10. Manly, like I discussed before, an absolutely special performance from Tyrrell May again. But he still didn't get selected for the Blues, so I don't know what more this man can do, but he is still not getting picked for the Blues. So have to wait till next year, Tyrrell. Benny Travojevic, great performance from him, 62 points. Adam Dewey had a good game, 58 points from him. If you got DCE in as well, 52 points from him, not too bad at all from Cherry. Outside of that, look, good performances from Twal, Waddell, Tokiaho. But look, great performances there, or solid performances there from Tommy Turbo in his debut in the centres, as well as Ruben Garrick out. Oh, not his debut. Well, his debut for this season in the centres, and Ruben Garrick out there on the wing as well for his first game, I believe, out there. Did well. Can't be upset with that performance there. Definitely hold on to Turbo. Look, break even of 18. I wouldn't say be rushing out to go and get him because they were versing the Tigers, but great performance from Tommy T. De Silva is now signed with Parramatta. This is one to definitely look into. I believe Riley Smith's still suspended for another week or two, and look, I think De Silva's come in and he wants the big minutes there. So look, if he's getting 80 minutes, he could definitely be a cut price keeper for the run home there. Look, the Eels don't play this week, so I wouldn't be getting him in this week. But after this week, he could be a really serious option to get into your team. Jazz Tavanga, big Jazzy boys didn't have his best game. A few errors there, but look, you'll take that. Probably move Jazzy out of your side at the end of this week, I would say. He's been a great servant and will take his points this week against, I think it's South. Coruscant, look, he went off a bit early, 34 points from him, not the best. Latu Fainu, 35 points from Latu. That's a pretty good performance, and he's only going to get better as we continue to go on. Definitely hold on to him. Heath Mason, like I said before, he's out 1 week. Not the greatest performance from Hopper fantasy-wise, with him being back at the back. Stafford Toa, not the best from him either. And that's really it for that game. We'll move on to the next game, the Raiders versus Newcastle. And yes, Zach Hoskins, an absolute blinder from good old Zachy. Look, 71 points from him. I wouldn't say be rushing out to get him, but if you've got him, hold on to him. Big Corey Horsburgh. An absolute exceptional performance from Big Red. I think that was his, might have been his 100th game, I think. Sorry if I got that wrong, Corey, but I think it was either his 100th or 150th for the or in the NRL. So yeah, he played nearly 60 minutes and scored 69 points. He was absolutely terrific. KO Weeks, a bit like Connor Tracy, very inconsistent, but 1 week he'll get you 68, the next he might get you 20. So if you want to get Weeks or Tracy in, just take that into account. Probably lean towards Tracy because Weeks has only had 1 bye, so the Raiders have still got 2 more byes to go. Phoenix Crosland, since moving to lock, has been terrific. 62 points from him. Look, Newcastle on the bye, and they still have 1 more bye after this, so just take that into consideration. Same with Jaden Brayley. He's been really good as well, playing 60 to 80 minutes every week. Sasangi got the start with Hudson Young being rested. He got 59 points. Jamal Fogarty was great as well, 59 points from him. Good old Black Helmet, Jackson Hastings had another good game there. Interesting to note as well, the Knights this afternoon this evening have signed Jacob Arthur, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Look, Starling, had a few more minutes than he normally would, 68 minutes for Starling, and got 53 points. So if you've still got Starling, you'll be cheering with that. Pierce Ball and Tarpany and Dylan Lucas, all solid performances from those guys. Look, you'd be wanting a few more minutes if you're a Tarpany owner. Look, 53 minutes for the captain. I just don't really agree with that. But look, the Raiders are on top of the ladder, so you can't be too critical. What else? Josh Papali'i, he's been great. Come out of Origin retirement to play for the Maroons in Game 3. So he unfortunately won't play this weekend, but I wouldn't really say he's a fantasy buy. Gagai has been good, but like I said, they got a buy this week and then still another one to come. Morgan Smithies, I think, will benefit this week from the out of Josh Papali'i, but I wouldn't be getting him in. Jacob Saifidi returned as well from injury. Solid performance there. KP, look, if you've still got Kalen Ponga, unfortunately, I think he's going to be out for a while, so potentially the season. So he might be joining Sharpedo in the injury ward for the rest of the season for the Knights. So look, that could see a few players that could see what's his name from the Knights. I've forgotten his name. Not Fletcher Sharp. It will come back to me. Fletcher something anyway. Fletcher Hunt, that's the one. Fletcher Hunt will probably come into the Newcastle team, potentially at fullback. Or I think Kyle McCarthy could come in as well. They've both been really good when they've come in. Jed Stewart, look, scored again, but stats weren't the best. I wouldn't be really getting him in at all. Outside of that, that's really it in regards to that. On to the next game. And is the Broncos got the got the job done over the wire. 76 points for Shibasaki. He's been great and looked at performance. And the injury to Kalen Ponga has made Billy force his hand, and Shibasaki is making his Origin debut in the decider for the Maroons. So we wish Shibasaki all the best. But unfortunate for owners that obviously were hoping that he was going to play this week. So, look, 76 points. Great performance from him. Aaron Clark, great performance from Aaron Clark. 57 points from him. The Warriors' best. Good on you, Aaron. Continue to gobble, my friend. Karapani, 54 points for good old Karapani. Break even at -1. He could be someone to bring into your side if you need a center this week. Maybe if you want to downgrade Jackson Purdue to a Karapani, you could do that if you wanted to. Take that into account. Not going to free up too much money due to the performance or the sort of form slip from Purdue, but look, not the end of the world. Adam Reynolds also a good option if you need a half this week. 53 points last week, been scoring well. 50 break even. I think the Broncos have the Titans in the last game next week, so that could be one to monitor over the next coming weeks. And the Broncos look like they're, touch wood, really starting to find their form. Look, Carrigan and Walsh. Walsh we had as a buy. Look, can't be too upset with that from Riz Lightning, 45 points. But what you can be upset with is that he's been named 18th man, so not the best there. But it is what it is. Definitely hold on to. Like I said, they got the Titans next week in round 19. So take that into consideration. Carrigan, solid performance from him, 46 points. Fisher Harris, again, he seems to just get 40 or 50s every week. So not too bad there. Wade Egan had 41. Ezra Mam had a good performance. Luke Metcalf, unfortunately, if you've got Metcalf, it looks like he's done his ACL, so you'll have to get Metcalf out of your team. Again, like a bit like De Silva here, not the same situation. De Silva moved clubs to Parramatta, but in this situation, we could see Tanner Boyd come into play for the Warriors there and take Metcalf's role. So that could be some, a bit of a cut price keeper there, getting in Tanner Boyd in and get those stats from him. Tony Staggs look very good in IRL as same as Xavier Wilson, but just their fantasy points just didn't really, or their performances, didn't really transfer into fantasy points. CNK, he's also injured, so he's probably going to have to go. Pia Core has just gone back to being pretty rubbish, and that's about it. Jesse Arthur's had an absolute stinker, so if you've still got Jesse Arthur's, move him to Karapani, please. On to the next game. Dragons taking on the Eels. Tremendous performance from Val Dust. Val Holmes, unfortunately, on Origin duty this week, so won't be playing for the Dragons, but look, great performance from him. Kelma Tuolangi, like I said, in the judiciary segment before we got into these games, he's looking like a 3-week ban, but he was terrific, 72 points. Same with his back row partner, Katoga. He was absolutely terrific as well. Zach Lomax continues to be a real option and one that you should be looking to get into your side for the run home, especially with that dual eligibility. Jack Williams, part of me, continues to go well. David Clemmer in his milestone game had a really, really good fixture. Damien Cook, look, only played 50 minutes, diabolical, but I think he's dealing with a bit of an ankle injury at the moment, so guess you take it. He's getting a point a minute. Hopefully we can see him get 80 minutes this week. Iongi, look, he continues his absolutely tremendous season. The Fox got back in the points. Kyle Flanagan had a good game. What else have we got here? King Togia had a good game as well. Dylan Brown, that was a lot better from him. Dean Hawkins, Dino, had another good fixture. Good on you, Dino. What else do we have here? Be interesting to see what happens to Lussick and Smith with De Silva there. Will there be one of them on the bench? I assume it'll be Smith and De Silva, maybe De Silva starting with Smith off the bench. And then we'll see the likes of Lussick moving on, trying to get in the younger players, which Parramatta have done a lot this season, blooding a lot of new, fresh talent. Now, if you have Nathan Lawson, unfortunately, he is out for 5 weeks. Played through an injury there at the back end, and he's out for 5 weeks. So he has to go. Leilua also got injured in that game. So did Couchman. So 3 injuries there for the Red V. And then Hamish Stewart, I believe, got knocked out as well. Semrani, who actually got the start I think it was in the centers, for Penasini, just really didn't go very well. Neither did Joash Papali'i. On to the game. The Dolphins, the absolute onslaught from the Finns. Tallis Duncan, like I said earlier, definitely an option that teams should be looking to get into their side. And look, he was exceptional, 96 points from him. The hammer in his milestone game, 4 tries for him. He was terrific as well. Marshall King got back to the old JMK that we can remember from last year with an absolute brilliant performance. And with the injuries that are going on at the Dolphins, if you need a bit of a cut price keeper, JMK could be a real nice option for you there. Unfortunately, doesn't play this week, but again, solid option. Herbie Farnworth, look, he's just a must-have commodity, Herbie Farnworth. So, look, don't get him in this week because they're obviously not playing, but next week and the weeks after, definitely one to get in. Latrell Mitchell, another one that's definitely going to be a player that you want to look in to get into your team for the run home after State of Origin. Isaiah Katoa continues his great form. He's been terrific. Kurt Donahue as well. He's been great. Jackie Whiten had a good game, moved into 5'8" there when Cody Walker went off and really did well. What else have we got here? Aiken continues to go all right, or solidly, should I say, 42 points from him. What else do we have here? Keon, like I said before, look, I think due to the scoreline, Bennett just brought him off and gave him an extra 20 minutes rest due to the scoreline. So hopefully he's back to 80 minutes and a good performance. It was great to see Mamazoulis return from injury with 35 points there. Hubner, look, if you still got Hubner, he's a bit like Purgie. I'd probably sell if you can, but it's not the end of the world if you want to keep him because he's obviously scoring this week. Humphreys hasn't been that great, only 25 points from him. Thank God. I hope people didn't get on Havili because now with Mamazoulis back and the Cheese potentially coming back soon as well, he's just not going to get not get many minutes or keep that role. Alex Johnston, look, didn't have a very good performance either. So, look, moving on to the next game. Like I said, Jerome Hughes, exceptional for the Storm in their win over the Sharks. Eli Katoa was also really good. Trent Liero got through a heap of work like he always does and crossed over the white stripe at the end. Nico Hines was one of Cronola's best fantasy-wise with 56 points. Munster had 52 points. Bloor had a good game with 50. Harry Grant, look, if he got rid of the missed tackles, would have had, 57 points there. But look, not the end of the world. Definitely going to be one that you want to have in your side after the Origin period finishes. Look, Fanua Blake, not the end of the world. 47, you'll take that. Not too bad at all. Blake Brayley, Nickera, McInnes, all solid performances from them with 44 and 42 respectively. What else do we have here? Falongo, look, he's out for 8 to 12 weeks with that hamstring injury. Unfortunately, if you have him, he has to go, or if you were considering him, don't bother. Ronaldo went all right. Stefano, look, he was all right and somehow managed to keep his Origin spot over Tyrrell May and Keon Kolomatangi. So hopefully for the Blues' sake, he has a better game. But yeah, look, not really the best of performances. Unlike Max King, King and Utakamanu were the ones under pressure, and King had an absolute belter, and Stefano had a pretty quiet game. So Pappenhausen, not the best performance from him, 29 points. Not the best either from Talakai, 29 points as well. Outside of that, that's really it. Fantasy relevancy for that game. Then we move on to the last game. Look, Bowie Firma definitely looks like one of those keeper options there on the edge. Center duel there. Scotty Drinkwater, great performance from him with 61. Philip Sammy had a great performance, 59 points. Reece Robson, good performance, 55. Tino had a good performance, 54 points from him. Cotter was good, 52. The big red dog, Jakey Clifford, back into the Cows side. I don't know why he was dropped in the first place, Peyton, but he is back, 52 points from him. Great effort from Cliff Dog. Jojo Fafita, solid performance from him. Brian Kelly, Brimson as well. Dearden, good performance as well. Randall wasn't the best. He's had some really good games recently in the second row, but this one was not one of his better ones. What else do we have here? Look, Nanai, not the best, 32 points. Fodawaker, not the greatest. And then, Jackson Purgey, 15 break even. Look, break even a 62. He's arguably a real sell. If you're not going to keep him after this week, or you don't think he's going to turn it around moving back to the centers, there is a chance he goes back to the halves this week with Dearden on origin duty, but I'd hope that they just keep him out in the centers and maybe Tom Duffy comes in on the bench. But look, that is it. That is it for Monday Night with Door round 17 review. Like I said, touched on those players that are injured, suspended, and some players that you want to be bringing into your teams this week. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode, and I will see you next week for round 18's Monday Night with Door. So we'll see you then. Cheers.